Have you ever wondered what happens to drivers fleeing from the cops? On today's episode of Wham Baam Securitycam, we're gonna find out. Our first video of this episode shows what's likely to happen when someone runs from the police. Thankfully, Christian wasn't directly involved in this collision, but he was a little close for comfort. He was driving his Tesla Model Y when he noticed a vehicle heading straight for him. He managed to get out of the way just in time, and we can see in the other angle that the fleeing vehicle already looks damaged. According to Christian, the vehicle was stolen. It didn't get far before crashing head-on into another SUV. After the collision, the suspects tried to flee the scene, but they were quickly apprehended by the police that were hot on their tails. What a way to start today's episode! There's more excitement to come, so let's keep going. This submitter sent their Sentry Mode footage to the Securitycam submission form, and since Sentry Mode is a sort of security cam, we're gonna go ahead and use it. Nobody tell Wham Baam Tesla Cam. That might have been a long intro, but what didn't take long was when a passerby pulled out a key and ran it along the side of this Tesla as he walked by. Sentry Mode caught him in the act, of course, but neither he nor the people with him tried to be discreet as they admired his handiwork. Now, we're not familiar with Welsh road markings, but it is a little strange that the Tesla and some other vehicles are parked over the top of some arrows. Maybe the submitter and the other drivers shouldn't have parked there in the first place, but this still isn't a good example to set for the young people with him, nor is it a healthy way to vent your frustration. What do you think? Can anyone tell us what those arrows are for? Let us know in the comments. Lee's electric bike was sitting on his porch with the back tire secured by a heavy-duty lock. That didn't deter this thief from stealing the bike when he picked up the whole thing, cover and all. Lee told us he uses the e-bike with pedal assist to run errands and get exercise after 2 strokes left him unable to ride a normal bicycle. Lee did file a police report, but recovering the e-bike is unlikely. Sadly, he hadn't insured it, and it's unlikely he can afford to replace it with a new one. Making trips to the grocery store and the laundromat just got much more difficult for him. Perhaps the thief will return the bike after hearing how their selfish actions impacted an innocent person, but we doubt it. Here comes another video from California, this one captured by a security cam at a store. This parking lot seems peaceful enough. Okay, maybe not. Not only did the driver hit a vehicle, in their attempt to flee, they backed into another one. When they tried to peel out of the parking lot, they completely destroyed a third vehicle and their own. Our submitter didn't tell us what else happened, but we're guessing the driver was done with running after getting his vehicle stuck on top of another one. I've got a question for you. Is your fridge floating down the street? You'd better go catch it. Okay, I guess that joke doesn't really work in this situation. Clover told us her street was flooded after a heavy rainstorm, and that's when someone's fridge took its maiden voyage and headed out to see the world. Actually, it only got as far as a nearby sidewalk, where it stayed for 2 more days after the water receded. That's not much of a voyage if you ask me. We're just wondering who eventually collected the fridge. Perhaps its journey continues. Karen's mom's vehicle was parked on the street when a U-Haul truck drove by. The driver moved over to let a car go by, but then he continued hugging the side of the road. Sadly, Karen's mom's SUV suffered as a result. The SUV's front tire exploded after the U-Haul scraped along the vehicle's side. Police were called and were able to track down the U-Haul driver before discovering he'd been living inside the truck. After a battle, Karen told us U-Haul paid for the repairs, which cost around $5,000 US. We're glad the cops found the driver before he was able to slither away. Can you guess what caused this damage? If you guessed it was another U-Haul, you'd be wrong. Our submitter told us vehicles are parked along both sides of the street and that the right turn is tight even for pickup trucks, not to mention buses. The bus barely missed the vehicle parked closest to the security cam, but sadly, it shoved a Ford Escape into a Subaru parked in front of it. According to our submitter, the bus manager made contact with the vehicle's owners and everything is being taken care of. Time for this week's Cute Cam. Vittorio sent us 2 videos from his cabin in the Alps. Up first are these cute foxes who came looking for food in his yard. Aww, what adorable little critters. Next is this badger who was also nosing around for some grub. How cool! Vittorio told us he hasn't seen the badger since, but the foxes visit often. What awesome visitors to have. I bet our next submitter wishes he had these smaller critters visiting instead of the huge guest you're about to see. Don's visitor came to see if there were any tasty morsels in his hanging flower baskets, but they were just barely out of reach. The bear tried a few strategies, even stretching out against the nearby pillar, but he eventually moved on. What he moved on to was Don's fish pond. Thankfully, he was only thirsty that evening and decided against any late-night fishing. After getting a drink, he wandered over to the patio furniture before stopping for a moment to enjoy the view of the skyline. He then checked some more hanging baskets, took one last stretch against the umbrella, and finally continued on. Ah, what a life! I wonder how he can bear it. What, was that too much? Mary and Alex also had a late-night visitor, and this one was much less welcome than the last. Mary told us this Prowler came by to check her vehicle's door handle. Thankfully, she's always sure to lock her doors, so the guy didn't get very far. Finally, an unsuccessful bad guy. Mary told us her son Alex discovered our channels first, and now he's got her watching them too. Wham bam, good work, man! Okay, here's a bonus cute cam from Rusty. He told us his kitten was playing in the backyard when, all of a sudden, he eliminated the danger, snapping the wooden marker post in half. Rusty told us he was surprised the kitten had that much power. Be afraid, Rusty, be very afraid. It will only get stronger with time. Our next video starts off with a bang, literally. Also, be warned that there are more flashing lights to come. Our anonymous submitter said a firework malfunctioned and sent a ball of flames into a pile of other fireworks. Sadly, they were being stored under an awning, and when they started exploding, some of the mortar shells made it into the attic. The footage didn't include audio, so please enjoy these sound effects instead. Our submitter told us he monitored for flames, but thankfully no fire spread. It cost him about $100 and 3 hours of work to fix the damage. He also told us to never keep fireworks stored under an overhang, and it's a good idea to have a water source and fire extinguisher nearby. We agree. Stay safe out there, everyone, and don't forget to order a set of our Fire Wham Bam decals. The link to order is in the description.
Wham Bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.
Do you have a security cam video to share with us? Send it in using the link in the description.